It's the browser we all pretty much live in, our main gateway to the internet. But have you ever stopped to think about what's really going on under the hood of Google Chrome? It turns out it's less of a simple window and more like a complex digital fortress that's, well, constantly under siege. Okay, let's get into it.
First things first, let's just get a sense of the scale we're talking about here. Over 65% of the entire planet accesses the web through Chrome. That's not just, winning the browser wars. That is a huge responsibility for keeping people safe and stable on a global level. And yeah, all that power has earned it a bit of a nickname, the Beast. Not just for its market share, but because it's powerful, it's fast, and let's be honest, sometimes it's a little resource intensive. But this beast wasn't built by accident. It was designed specifically to tame the wild modern internet. So why does Chrome even need to be such a beast in the first place? Well, to get that, we have to look at what the web itself has become. I mean, think about it. The web today is nothing like the simple text pages from back in the day. We are running entire, complex applications right inside our browser tabs. Things like Gmail, streaming high-def video, even playing full-blown 3D games. This whole shift demanded a complete reinvention of what a browser is and how it has to work. And this is where we get to Chrome's secret weapon, really the blueprint for its entire fortress. The key thing to understand is that Chrome isn't just one single program. It's more like a whole team of specialists, all working in concert.
It's this thing called a multi-process architecture, and the idea behind it is actually genius. Think of it like a submarine that's built with watertight compartments. If one compartment springs a leak, say a single website crashes a tab, it gets sealed off immediately, but the rest of the sub is totally fine. The whole browser doesn't go down with it.
So here's a quick breakdown of how those compartments work. You've got the main browser process, that's the command center for everything. Then, and this is key, each tab gets its very own renderer process, its own little isolated chamber to handle web content. You also have the GPU process, that's the graphics engine, and the network process, which acts as the secure gatekeeper for all your internet traffic. This separation is the absolute first line of defense.
Okay, so with that multi-process foundation locked in, Google started layering on the defenses, really turning that basic structure into the digital fortress we've been talking about. The first layer is something called sandboxing. Each one of those renderer processes, so every single tab, is forced to run inside this digital sandbox. It's like having a deep, wide moat around a castle wall. The process has super limited privileges. It can't just go and access your files or start messing with your operating system. Any potential threat is trapped inside that one tab. But okay, what if an attacker does manage to get inside one of the castle's chambers? Well, that's where site isolation comes in. This is like building even higher, thicker walls between each room inside the castle. And make sure that the code from, say, your online banking tab is in a totally separate process from that sketchy website you just clicked on. This makes it incredibly hard for one to steal data from the other. And finally, on top of all that, you've got the proactive defense. Google Safe Browsing is like a sentinel standing guard at the main gate. It has this massive, constantly updated blacklist of dangerous sites. So before you even visit one, Chrome does a quick check and throws up a big warning if you're about to walk into a phishing scam or a malware trap. But of course, no fortress is ever perfect. The stronger the defenses get, the more clever the attackers become, and they are constantly, relentlessly probing for any tiny crack in the armor. Which brings us to the big question, right? With all these different layers of defense, is Chrome's fortress truly impenetrable? Well, the short answer is no, because in the world of software, attackers have a pretty powerful ace up their sleeve, and that ace is the zero-day exploit. This is the stuff of nightmares for security teams. It's an attack that targets a vulnerability that the good guys don't even know about yet. It's a complete ambush, a secret passage into the fortress that attackers can use before the defenders even have a chance to seal it up.
And where are these secret passages most often found? The data is pretty stark. About 70% of all the high-severity security bugs discovered in Chrome are what's known as memory safety problems.
These are tiny, subtle errors in how the code manages your computer's memory.
So let's break down what these memory bugs actually are, because the names sound complicated, but the ideas are pretty simple. A use after free is like trying to follow a map to a house that's already been torn down. Who knows what you'll find at that address now? A heap buffer overflow is kind of like overstuffing a suitcase so much that it bursts open and spills all over the suitcase next to it, corrupting everything inside. These are exactly the kinds of cracks that attackers are always looking for.
So this all leads to the fundamental reality of browser security. It's not about building something once and calling it done. It's a constant, never-ending battle to find and fix these cracks before the bad guys can get through them.
You know, the source material for this explainer puts it perfectly. It describes this as a constant cat and mouse game. As soon as the defenders patch one hole, the attackers are already hard at work searching for the next one. It's just a relentless cycle.
But here's where the defense gets incredibly fast. The moment a 0-day is discovered out in the wild, the response is just lightning quick. Engineers work around the clock to develop a patch, and then, thanks to automatic updates, that fix can be deployed to millions and millions of users, often within just a few hours, sealing that breach for good. And to help find these flaws before the attackers do, Google puts its money where its mouth is. I mean, look at this number, $250,000. That was a single bug bounty paid to a security researcher for finding one critical vulnerability. It's a massive incentive to get the good guys to join the defense. So what does all this mean for you? Well, it means your role in this huge, ongoing fight is actually the simplest, but it's also the most critical one of all. Just keep your automatic updates turned on. That's it. That's how you make sure your fortress always has the latest repairs and reinforcements. So when you put it all together, you see the whole picture. Chrome really is a fortress, designed from the ground up to isolate threats with its multiprocess architecture. It's defended by these heavy-duty layers like sandboxing and site isolation, but it is under constant attack. And ultimately, the defense depends on that never-ending fight waged by security teams and the automatic updates that bring all their hard work straight to you. Which really leaves us with one last thought. Your browser isn't just another app. It's your main gate to the entire digital world. And in this constant battle between attackers and defenders, it's worth asking yourself, who do you really trust to build, maintain, and guard that gate?